welcome Law Unplugged. Today we are in conversation with a very special guest. Today we have with us Utkarsha Nikam ma'am. Ma'am is an advocate and is currently working as an associate with Kanga Co Mumbai. Ma'am has recently been selected as an incoming LLM candidate at the Queen Mary University of London. Today, ma'am has taken time out of her very busy schedule to talk to us on how she made it to the Queen Mary University of London, her tips and tricks of acing it in Moots, how to write a crisp and beautiful statement of purpose, whom should one approach to get a letter of recommendation, and a lot of fun. So if you like this episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Now without any further ado, let's jump right into the discussion. It's absolutely an honor to host someone who has achieved so much, and we are nothing but first year law students trying to make the most out of our quarantine days. So it's a blessing that you have agreed to appear and to be a part of our show, and thank you for that. And so before we begin, I just want to know how you entered the field of law. Begin from that segment.
The question why law, I think, is the primarily thing which comes across. But firstly, I really want to thank all of you for inviting me on your platform. It's my pleasure to be associated. Now, why law? As given the matter of fact, I am the first generation lawyer. I have all doctors and engineers in my family, so I thought I should break the chain and try out something new. So my dad has always been fascinated with the courts and how the lawyers work. So from the school days, we have been kind of watching all the movies and shows, for example, together. So I thought, why not give it a try? So as I entered my law school, I think I became more sure about my decision that yes, law is the field for me. So initially, I was not very sure, but as the time passed by, definitely law is for me. This is what I realized.
Right. We all three of us are first. Oh, Hemant has a lawyer in his family, but I and Amay are first gen lawyers.
First generation lawyers.
It's very relatable.
Experience that comes along and you really find it very fascinating.
Yeah. Moots are really fascinating. Moots and
fun
all
thing
other
to do.
light activities.
Correct. So I would just add, I think as from my experience, law I think is the basics for everything. Like if you want to put in a hospital also, you need to check the legal requirements. If something is wrong happening, with the customers, you run towards with the legal remedy. So with my experience and knowledge, I've come to the fact that law is a profession which is a center which holds every profession together. Like be it architecture, engineer, doctors, you need lawyers. So I find that thing very fascinating in a sense.
Yeah. Moving on, I just have to share this very funny incident. When you share law is like base of everything. Yesterday I was watching an interview of a person who came AIR 4th in judicial clerkship exams. So he was a physics student at Delhi University. And the reason why he chose physics was because he thought physics is related to nature and because it governs how we walk and all other activities. So later when he when asked as to how this radical shift came of taking law from physics, so his answer was that I slowly realized that law is behind every other natural activity. So if, for example, law in a country doesn't permit physics, then it's of no use.
I completely agree with you. I think everyone has a very funny story. Some are very determined to become a lawyer. Some actually figure it out as they move ahead in law schools. And law, I think, gives you a variety of different options also, like example, teaching or, a government officer. So I think it's kind of very diversified sector in a sense.
Right. Moving on, ma'am, as one sees and scrolls through your CV, we get to CV as in the LinkedIn profile. We get to see that you have done a lot of moots in your law school life. So tell us, how have those 5 years been at GLC Mumbai? How do you miss them or do you not? I mean, are you looking forward to QMUL?
No, I completely miss my college days. I think GLC is a platform which gives you practical insights as well as the academic insights. It's like a choice every day who you want to become. You are free to do a lot of co-curricular activities as we have the time. which is there due to compulsory lectures we don't have at times. So you can choose different profiles. I have done moots, I have written research papers, I have been a head of a committee. So during my law school, I just wanted to explore everything, try my hand at everything, and what I liked, I went ahead with it. So Moot Courts, at first it was scary, very scary. My first Moot Court didn't go well at all. But then there were a few seniors who guided me that you should give it a shot. And if you don't like it, it's fine. It's not the end. But as you try and work hard towards it, I think it becomes fun. The way you prepare for your Moot Court, the Moot Court memorial submissions, they are always maddening at the last minute. All the changes are still happening before the submission. Then when you venture out, you meet different type of people from different law schools. You understand their story. And as I was in the sports as well, so it was like fun fact for me because I used to go for different NLU fests also, who used to host such activities. So yeah, I think I have tried to balance it more on the academic and also the extracurricular front. So I really miss it because now that I'm a working professional, I miss playing sports, I miss the fun practices which you spend with your friends, and also Moot Courts. I can't participate right now, but then I've gotten options to judge various Moot Court competitions. So I've tried to be connected with that front, definitely.
Exactly, yeah. Right, ma'am. So yeah, when I was reading about you, I came to know that first your area of interest was arbitration, and slowly as you started working in real estate, your interest shifted from arbitration to real estate. How did that happen?
So this is a very interesting story actually. So till my 5th year, I was very confused. What should I do? But I knew that I had interest in arbitration and real estate because from the 2nd year itself, I have done internships in every field of law. Like I've tried till 4th year, be it IPR, criminal, civil. But then I narrowed it down and I was getting stuck between arbitration and real estate. So I was trying to put it on the same front, but it's very impossible because they are two different, branches of the same tree. So I thought, what should I do? So I had kept my options open for real estate as well as arbitration. But when I started applying for jobs, you go through your CV, you see what interests you much. Like what you want to do the whole day and come back and go back again to that area of law. So I think I connected more on real estate than arbitration. But however, it's again, like try and choose kind of an option. So when I went in for my job applications, I thought I'll give myself a year trying out real estate, see if it is my cup of tea. And if not, I was very okay with the fact of, shifting to arbitration. Like that relaxation period, I had given it to myself. But funny thing or whatever you may call it, as I went into arbitration, I started loving the field even more than anything. Like I didn't want to shift. I wanted to do it. And then how do I keep my arbitration interest alive? So I started reading about it, writing research papers. So I'm trying to balance both the areas of law, but if you see long term, it's definitely real estate because I find it very fascinating and interesting. So yeah, so this is what my story is. Many people who know me, they are always like, oh, arbitration and real estate. But right now I'm trying to figure out, yes, it is more of a real estate than arbitration.
Right.
I think you put out, by internships and, reading about it. Yeah, that actually helps. And a professional experience of a year has gave me the confidence to choose my cup of tea right now.
It's very fascinating to hear from ma'am that she chose real estate over arbitration because in law schools, at least in our law school, if I think all my batchmates would agree that people are mad behind arbitration. It's like a huge fan following of these young groups, young SIAC and young London Institute of Arbitration, and
Right.
all they have these young bodies. So people are like there's this mad rush behind. But it feels very nice to see that people are doing something out of the box.
To add to it, arbitration is a really beautiful act. Like, I really love it. I still follow all the updates to it. But I feel, since I was in law school as well, first few months of my practical experience, I was very skeptical till the 6th month if this is my cup of tea or no. But it's always good to have two interests, because if I figured real estate is not my cup of tea, I had an option to fall back on. Like, I knew it had to be arbitration. And real estate is a subject which is not taught during your law schools. When you come out of it and when you go in the practical sense, then you understand, oh, there's a term called FSI or TDR, and then you are like, okay, what is this? So you need to dive in more. So I had to put in so much of hard work. Then I started really enjoying. So that's how my shift actually happened. So it's a very niche area of law which very few people practice, just core like real estate. So yeah, I think that's how it happened for me.
One more conversation, you told that the objective of you doing the LLM is you want to secure a training contract with a UK law firm. You want to express that, what do you say?
London dreams.
London dreams, and that glamour working in a UK law firms, that suits lives actually comes to life, right? So again, so what is your objective doing the LLM from QMUL?
Okay, so the one thing I really want to tell you guys is, as you know, I come from Nashik, okay? So when I shifted to Bombay, the dimensions change, the people you meet change. So they expose you to so many different beautiful activities or, thought process, which I think actually helps you to grow as a person. So if you see my curriculum as a person in Nashik, when I shifted to Bombay, it's completely changed. So people from Nashik are like, oh, this is that Utkarsha who was so shy and so underconfident, and now she's doing so many webinars. So it's a complete shift because you get exposed to so many different levels. So I always wanted to study abroad, given the fact. The motive behind this, I wanted to understand how law works on an international sphere in the first place. Secondly, I believe the education system, in the abroad universities is very different. They give you exposure to the practical and academic aspects in a very balanced manner. Because, they'll give you, oh, this is the assignment, read and come. So you have to be prepared and then go. Otherwise, they'll be randomly calling you names and you'll be like completely blank. It just doesn't reflect so good on you. So you try to meet different people, you try to get exposed on an international level. Of course, the glamour part comes with it. Like, if you get a chance to go to London and settle, why not? Like, why not expose yourself to a set of people from different nationalities, for example? Yeah. So I thought if I have interest in the international law, like understanding law in an international sphere, why not? Like, investing in an LLM would be, again, trial and error method. If I go there, if I like the subject, for example, if I pass on the interviews, and then definitely I'll be settling. Like, I have plans to at least settle for 2-3 years and then come back to India. But yeah, so this has been my driving force, to understand law in an international sphere.
Yeah. So if you are aiming to secure a training contract, in which areas of law would you like to work in? Is it arbitration, real estate, or would you like to try out some new areas of law? I mean, in UK capital markets, I mean, those hardcore corporate laws are booming right now. So
I'm pursuing corporate and commercial law, LLM, because it kind of balances my real estate sector. Because you see, firms or MNCs, they do not only practice real estate, they extend their scope to commercial practice as well. So I thought I'll go for that LLM. I want to practice commercial law in the first place, and second place, I'll be keeping my options open to the arbitration law as well. Since I have the experience, I have done a lot of internships, mostly in arbitration, real estate. You'll find few other in the third years trying out which law suits me, and you try to figure out. So I have that experience, and given the fact that I'm still writing research papers in arbitration, still being updated, so I'll be open to commercial law in the first place, because it will give me a hand of experience in real estate matters as well. And then secondly would be arbitration. So I'm just keeping a broad perspective towards these two areas of law.
Right.
So did you never think of giving a try to litigation and appearing in the Supreme Court and being called Ma'am Utkarsha Senior Counsel?
I really during senior councils or councils for that matter when I used to go to court as an intern. But no, I think if you see my law journey, somehow I was just trial and error with different areas of law. I connected with real estate and arbitration. Then my focus became to try out more, see more of real estate, see more of arbitration. So things kind of just fell into place and it led me to two areas of law at the final year. Either it has to be real estate or arbitration. But during my internships, I liked going to court and preparing everything with respect to and all, but I didn't really see myself as a standing counsel or practicing in litigation. I'll be true to that for sure. Like I really like arbitrations also, only doing arbitrations if I were doing arbitration. Like I didn't want it to be associated with the litigation sector. Just being with the arbitrators. You can intern with arbitrators, for example. Or you can join a senior advocate who practices only arbitration. So yeah, I wanted to limit my court exposure, but arbitration is based morely on CPC because the base is CPC, right? And then again, I'll have to practice at court to understand the application of CPC well. Then it was leading me to litigation, which I didn't want to do. So that was also another factor. It's like I'll be focused more on real estate because I don't have to go to court. Yeah, that made much more sense if I think about it.
Okay.
And like coming back to real estate, very area which you choose for arbitration, which is very applaudable in the first place. So coming back to real estate, you have a blog on real estate, and many blogs have a very inspiring story behind it that the founders felt a lack of material in this particular field, or maybe some say that I wanted to reach out to each and every individual in each and every law school. So what's your story behind the Indian real estate work?
So if I'm being completely honest, I think it is quite interesting. What had happened is I was talking to a senior friend of mine who also practices in real estate. So as a new joinee in real estate, you come across so many terms in practical sense which you are completely unaware of. You are like, okay, what is this? Then you have to, put in that extra homework to understand those terms, because once you start working, people expect you to know basic things at least. Like you have to give in your 100% understanding and researching the basic concepts which everyone should know. So I was talking to my senior and I used to call him up every weekend. Oh, this is happening, this is so fun. And I used to have that conversation with Khushwan, who is the co-founder of IRP. And every week we used to just talk about real estate. Then I used to ask him some terms. He used to tell me, oh, this happened, this also happened. So we started talking and then we are like, oh, let's do one thing. Why not, write the information which we know in a Word document and keep it available for our reference in future. Then that idea happened, why not start writing few small articles which will help us. The basic idea was just to help us to go smoothly through the real estate process and understand the terms. And then he's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Then I was already into writing articles and we started coming up with really nice, fine articles to understand it. So we are like, why not? Let's do the blog. So we started IRB only for us actually to help us be updated, because you have that responsibility of a blog, then you would like to be updated of every real estate news and update people also. Then secondly, it helps us with the writing articles. You research more. So that becomes as a part of additional work apart from the working factor for a firm if you're working. So we launched the IRB, we were quite happy, oh, we did this. And then we started getting a lot of feedbacks and messages from people, oh, your blogs are very informative, they're very basic and very simple to understand for a non-law student or a lawyer. So we are like, okay, this might go somewhere. So we just started pushing it harder and it just turned out to be a really good thing. So this is the story of IRB. the main intention was to keep ourselves updated and to be known of the basic terms, but it in turn helped out a lot of students and non-law friends of mine. So this is how IRB took place.
Right. Now, yeah, moving back to the LLM part. Okay, so there has been much chaos about how to craft an SOP, and yeah, there is chaos. I mean, on LinkedIn you'll see random people. I know a trick how to draft an SOP. Leave your mail. But that does not work actually. Yeah, but when I read your SOP, I was like, oh wow, that is such a well crafted SOP. I had everything into it. So your take on how to craft a good SOP. What makes a fantastic SOP?
Yeah, just to give a heads up to ma'am, we know of your SOP because you had once posted it on LinkedIn.
Right.
To drop your emails down.
I had received. So the thing was, there was so many chaos, and when people came to know I got admitted into QMUL, they all wanted to, understand how I did my SOP LOR. So LORs are very specific because they were with my employers and teachers. I didn't have the, draft of it exact, but SOP I had it. So I was like, why not, just make it available for people to understand how an SOP is in the basic sense. So I just made up a post on LinkedIn and people responded. So I was just forwarding them whoever wanted it. Yeah. So
No, sorry.
No, you asked.
Yeah, I just was going to say that it was the one time when it actually worked. Yeah, people randomly send their email to everybody. They don't send anything at all once they get the email. Yeah, but one time it worked. Yeah, in your case.
Yeah. So the thing is, before starting my SOP, I was very late in applying for my law colleges because I was very confused if I should take a 1-year experience or 2-year experience. But then after I thought, after a lot of thought, let's do it. If I get into it, well and good. If not, then I can try it next year. So honestly, I didn't get a lot of time to prepare, but I read a lot about SOPs on YouTube and different posts as you mentioned on LinkedIn. So I think SOP is nothing but just your story. It is at the end of the day why that college should accept you in their university, what qualities you have, and SOP majorly also determines how well do you present yourself. I have actually tried my hand on different activities. So if you read my SOP, I just start why law in the first place. I've mentioned I have come. Law was, I was actually scared to go into law in the first place because I had no one person knowing since I'm a first generation lawyer. Then I went ahead with why LLM. I talked about my Nasik schooling experience. Then I talked about GLC in very brief. I then told them all my qualities when I was the head of the committees and Moot Courts, etc. Then I told them about how did I secure my offer letter from the firm where I'm working. And then I went ahead to tell them why I want to study law in UK. And then when I went ahead to understand, what modules they were offering and why QMUL would be my choice as compared to the other universities. And I ended it with saying, I hope to secure admission in your specific university. So I think, when you tell someone, you have to make it very engaging and sound like a real story. It has to be your story. So you just try to highlight your main points. For example, if you just play sports, it's fine. You just have to say how sports make you a team player. How it teaches you to work hard. It's not just your story, but how you say, how you present yourself in front of those admission committee who are going to judge you on the piece of a paper. So this is I think the art of writing SOP is writing your story, but highlighting yourself in a very high regard. But you should be that at the end of the day. So read, I always tell people, read as much SOPs as you want to, but at the end of the day, not I remember I was working and I have slept only 2-3 hours a day because SOP literally takes a lot of time and I didn't have time. So I just had to invest. My first draft was so bad. Like people are like, no, Utkarsha, you can do better. And you have to have genuine friends who are going to like tell you straight away, no, this is crap. Like, you can do better. So I think that also my friends played a very important role actually in SOP, because they are like, no, this is not going well. So you need third eye also for it. So yeah, it should be your story. It should be genuine. You should always highlight, why you are as a person on an academic, give it a personal touch, and then end it about why that particular university. And ask your SOP to be reviewed by like 10 people if you can. But yeah, that is very necessary.
Yeah. So from this, what I understand is that be it any law school in the world, they are not looking for all rounders basically. I mean, excellent academicians, excellent sport. I mean, all in one they don't want. They just want their candidates to be in their own way. They should be good, right? So
master of something,
contribute.
Right?
So I wouldn't say academics don't play a major role, because that comes the basics. You're going to study again an academic degree, that is LLM, right? So they want to know that you are committed in actual learning part. That is how your academics are based, right? Like, I don't say academic is the sole determining factor, definitely not, but they do hold certain good amount of value. Because as a student, you are expected to study and get good grades. Let's just be fairly honest, right? And also invest yourself in different co-curricular activities. I don't say you should do Moot, you should be publishing research papers, you should also be in sports. But whatever you're doing it 100%. And you have to make sure, tell them, it's like an interview basically. I go to an employer, everyone is, practiced into some. For example, I went for my real estate interview, right? There are people who might have come with experience, without experience for that interview. But it is on me how I convince my employer or the HR, why am I accepted to the firm? What is that in me that keeps me an outstanding candidate from the list of other people who might have had experience in real estate, but why am I still a better candidate as compared to them? So therein my role comes into play. I have done this is why I'm so good, and this is why I want you to give me a chance to contribute it to your university. So I think this is how it matters.
Right.
Also to add to that, coming back to LORs, which I have seen in many interviews that people tend to take their LORs mostly from their professors, and some other people who I have seen interviews of, they have also taken it from the judges in front of whom they appeared in some particular case. So I just want to know who should be the one from whom we take our LOR. Who is supposed to give an LOR, and how is the process?
Okay, so LOR is nothing but a statement wherein that particular person vouches for you in either personal or professional capacity. Okay, so for me, since I was already working, my one LOR should be from the employer. Why? Because I have been working under it, right? Presently, he is the best person to tell that particular admission committee that this person is doing great, or this person is diligent enough to get admitted. Like, I can vouch for her in a professional capacity. Why do you go for the academic LORs? Is because you have studied law under that professor for some amount of years, like 3 or 4. So that professor has seen you, how you behave in class, because you attend lectures, right? How you study, how are your marks. So he is vouching for you in the academic perspective. I have honestly not heard people taking LORs from, you mentioned, right? Like in front of judges who have appeared, I have not come across. But I think a person whom you know very well and who can vouch for you, like write good things about you, should be the one whom you should take LOR from. Because these people, the admission committee, don't know you. They are going to rely very heavily on your SOP and the letter of recommendation. So if you take a letter of recommendation from a person, like in my case, I had taken it from a professor who has known me for 3 to 4 years. And he had written down in the LOA that I've known this girl for 3 to 4 years. And she was a student in this class. So that professor or in the admission committee would be taking it in a good sense. Oh, she's taken it from a professor who has known her for this period of time. So he would be in the best capacity to say on my behalf. So this is how. You should know that particular person, and that particular person should highlight your positives or genuine attributes of you as a person.
Hello. So this is the last, moving on to the last segment of the interview. This is a kind of a virtual, we have to just it's kind of a rapid fire round. We'll ask you a particular question, then you have to quickly answer them. Right, so let's start it. You ready? The very first question, your favorite Suits character?
It has to be Jessica Pearson.
Same, yeah. Can we have a hi-fi, a virtual hi-fi? Can we have? Thank you. Me too.
I love her.
So that was a very interesting choice. And then so moving on, you said you were very excited about moving from Nashik to Bombay. It was completely different. So what did you like the most in Mumbai? Was that the traffic, the local trains, vada pav, anything? The most favorite part.
But Marine Drive was my favorite. As cliche as it sounds, but I've made a lot of very important decisions on the Marine Drive. So Marine Drive, it has to be Marine Drive.
Same here actually. Yeah, can we do another?
Are you copying the answers or do you actually mean it?
I actually mean it.
Tell me.
Actually.
Now
First,
how do you talk about Mumbai? Sorry.
My question to Ame is why Marine Drive? You need to justify your answer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, see, first of all, it is an open space, right? And see, I get very less opportunities to actually go to South Bombay, right? So it's one of those places where you can go out. Yeah, I mean basically the vibe there, basically. Yeah. That is what makes it so special to me.
So moving on, law student and stress are both synonyms. How do you your best way of manning up? How do you scope your ways to scope up with a lot of stress, and as well as another, it's an added part, one of the lowest grades. Can you just say that? You shouldn't mind.
No, for the stress part, I'm gonna answer for Marine Drive. People see me running in the morning, in the evening, and they're like, "Are you fine?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm fine." So I run on Marine Drive usually. And then with respect to lowest grades, I think a particular subject are you asking, or in general?
Overall, anything.
Tell us anything.
I think family law is the subject where I scored really less, around something 45 or just passed or something. Yeah. It's just one subject, and then I get pumped up. I'm like, no, I studied for it. I definitely studied well for it, but
this is the wrong kind of motivation that we have got now.
So I was moving on. My next question was on the subject only. What was your most boring subject?
Family law. I'm gonna say it. I couldn't relate.
That's why I got it.
Yeah.
The grades show it, right? The grades showing it.
Yeah.
I think this question you've already answered, but to channelize it again, is it traditional litigation or corporate law? What do you want? The best part?
Corporate law.
Obviously, corporate.
Yeah.
Evident.
Yeah.
Evident.
Further into that, in corporate law, will you work in a firm, or you wish to open your firm, your own firm?
I haven't thought about it, but now
Utkarsha Nikam and Associates, advocates and solicitors.
Not solicitors, definitely, because I'm not starting to solve. But I don't know. No, I want to work. Till 30, I'm not opening my firm. But if I do, I'll definitely send you guys the first invitation, because the idea must have come from this interview.
Can you just say me something more about this part, not till 30 and all? I didn't get it. You want to have this experience part and then?
this is my my motivation plan is, I think till 30, age of 30, you have this extra energy where you can do anything and everything, manage the time and not have so much of stress and have middle life crisis. So I think middle life crisis begin after 30. So till 30, do everything and try your hand at everything. Whatever you want to do, just do it, and by 30 have a settled mindset, like what you want to do in life, because then it becomes really difficult to change the area of law or the profession, for example. So I think by 30th you should know where you're going, what your end term goal is. So I don't stress myself right now, but by the age of 30 I will figure out definitely what I want to do ahead, and then like be open minded. Sorry?
Well planned.
I think so. Let's see.
So the last question in this segment, like if you were given a chance to begin your law school again, the whole life, begin it from the very first year, what would you do it? Like, what would you do it once again? Like, what would you love to do, or you have not done yet and you want to try it again? What would be that part?
Honestly, as cliche as it sounds, I would literally go by my journey again, except for the fact that I'll apply for LLM in very way ahead of time. Like, keep the deadlines in time and then apply for LLM again properly. Because I missed my deadlines this time. So
Completely understanding.
Yeah, but law school is fine. I don't want to change a thing about it. It has taught me a lot. So
Great. It was, it was really grateful of you to have, first of all, accepted the invite, and second of all, we have learnt a lot. And the best takeaway for me was पढ़ना वढ़ना आप सब छोड़ो, बाजू में पहले deadline देखो. Right. So on behalf of the entire team of LawUnplugged, we are not a very big team, but just to give a very dramatic effect. Yeah, the entire team is really grateful, and we are. It was completely delightful interview that we had today. I guess my batchmates have the same experience. They must have had the same experience.
I am really grateful to all of you for inviting me. It was really a fun session actually. Plus it was very candid and there was no stress. So I think I really liked it. Plus you guys are doing an amazing job, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go way ahead. So just keep doing what you're doing. That's all I would say. And thank you for matching with me for Jessica Pearson, because not many people actually understand that. So that's a heads up. But no, on a serious note, just keep doing what you're doing. I love to be here on your platform, and I hope you have many more talk shows and go viral everywhere. It will be definitely one day for sure.
Right. Yeah. So apart from that, Rajas, you just said the things we should learn from this candid conversation. So I would just like to add one point to that. So guys, the next subject which we are going to learn in law school is family law. So even if we don't ace it, we have some scope.
It's okay.
And that just gave me hope.
No, but you have to pass, okay? Don't take it very wrongly.
No. Also adding to the irony is that while I was preparing for my Moot, it was in arbitration law. So we had referred to Queen Mary University of London's task force on third party joinder to arbitration and third party investment. So like the irony being that you are running away from arbitration and you landing at a place which is known for producing A-grade arbitration task forces and research papers. Kudos for that. I don't know how it ends for you.
Definitely. But it was lovely talking to all three of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, man. Means a lot to us.